Hey there. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today I brought to you a new video. This is part 2 of the Linux commands, which we'll be learning today in this session. Prior to this, I have already introduced you to my first video related to Linux basics commands, and I've also explained to you the architecture of Linux. So I request you before watching this video and trying to work on the commands which I'm going to explain you today, please try and see the video when on this channel. So I'll be executing this commands onto the terminal through the virtual machine which I have launched in AWS. So I am making use of the EC2 instance in AWS. I'll be using the AWS platform to work upon. So this is an Amazon Linux machine which I'll be using. So in the first place, why you should understand, you should know why commands are there, why these commands are supposed to be executed. So first and foremost, commands are predefined programs. They are some programs that try and fetch you an output that are helpful when you try and troubleshoot some production issues, when you try to configure the machine, when you're trying to monitoring the servers, the application requirement and all. In these cases, the commands are really helpful. So for this purpose, what I'll do is we'll begin with the second part, that is some advanced Linux commands which will help you in your day-to-day activities. So what I'll do is I'll just clear the screen, and before we work, it's always good to understand where you are working, which is the directory in which you are working. For that, I'll be executing pwd. So you can observe it's in home slash ec2 dash user. So the first thing what I want to explain you is, before working on any environment, before working onto a machine, try and understand what is there into this machine. So let's try and list everything which is there in this part, ls. So you can see two there is one directory, that is development, and there is one file with the name error.log. So now how did I identify that development here is a directory and error.log is a file? For that, what you can do is just ll long listing, and first and foremost, development is in light blue color. So that helps you identify that it's a directory. Secondly, error.log, you can see it's mentioned dash. That means it's a file, and development is being denoted with D here out here. That is why you can identify it's a directory. So what we'll be doing is, here there are two contents. There are two data sets. One is your folder and one is your file. I want to create one more file. So I'll be firing this command and let's see what happens. Touch followed by the name of the file. So I think it's executed. Touch. Now let's say I want to copy. I want to copy the contents. I want to copy to the folder development. Before that, I'll just try and show you what is there in the development folder. Let's go there. CD stands for change directory. I'll be going into the development file folder, sorry, and let's ls here. You can see nothing is there in the development folder. I'll just come back, and now what we can do is I'll try and copy the error log file into the development folder. I'll execute this command. Cp is the command which is used to copy any content. Here it is. Now what we'll do is we'll try and go into the development folder and ls this. Now you can see previously when we were trying to ls, we were trying to list, there was nothing in the development folder. Now you can see that after executing the cp command, that is copy command, error.log has been placed into the development folder. So this is the first command which I wanted to explain you, that is cp. So CP stands for copy, the full form is copy, and it copies the files, or you can also do it for directories as well, from one location to another. Let's come back. For coming one step back into the main folder I was working, I'll just insert cd space double dot, and here it is. So I just want to clear this. I want to just clear this so that it looks clean and tidy. I'll just clear this with the command clear. Here I go. Now, let's say what is there in the present directory now. There are three contents, one folder development and two files, DevOps and error.log. Now what we'll do is we'll work on this file that is DevOps. I want to name this file DevOps. I want to rename it, sorry. I want to rename it with some different name. How am I going to do it? In Windows, it's very easy. You go to the folder or the file, you just right click it and you rename it, right? But that is when you work on the GUI, that is the graphical user interface. But here we are going to work on the CLI. So how are you going to do that? You are going to make use of the MV command. So MV command serves two purposes. One is it can be used for renaming a particular file. It can also be used to move the contents from one file to another, one directory to another. Now let's rename in this case the file DevOps. Was DevOps. Now the name of the file is cloud. Now what I'll do is I just want to move this file cloud. This is the test file which I've created. I want to move this file into the folder development. Okay, so what we'll do is let's come back ls. I want to move this, so I'll be using mv command. Move what? Move the cloud file. Where do you want to move it? You want to move it into the development folder and try and ls this. We can see that the cloud file is present here in the development folder. So this is how you actually move a file from one directory to another. Whereas move command, that is the mv command, serves two purposes, which I mentioned right now. It is going to help you rename a particular file, as well as it's going to help you to move it from one part to some another part. Now let's say I want to remove this cloud file. I want to just delete it. For that purpose, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing rm followed by the name of the file. So this is the next command which I want to explain you. I will explain this to you in the previous video as well, but yet again, rm, again, very sensitive. Very carefully you have to use this command, because it can try and bring a lot of issues into your system as well. So very carefully you have to execute this command only and only if you require. What has happened? The cloud file has been deleted. It's been removed. All right. So this is the next command I wanted to explain you. That is rm. That is remove. Let's move ahead. I want to make this workspace tidy, clean. I'll just try and clear this. Here I go. Now, what is there in my present working directory? There's one more file, that is error.log. Now, I purposefully created this file for you to understand and try and work on this file, how to identify, how to troubleshoot, how to carry, and how to identify the logs onto a running file. For that purpose I have created this file already. So what I'll do is I'll try and cat this. Why do I cat this? Once I cat it, I will try and read it. I will try and read the contents into this file. For that purpose, I'll be making use of the cat command, the cat command. And I'll try and enter this. So you can see there's something which is there in this file, which you can try and identify. They are nothing but they are logs. They are application logs, which will try and troubleshoot some issues. So that's not the purpose. We want to identify how the commands are going to actually work. For that purpose, with the cat command, you can see all the contents in the error.log. You can read the whole file. Whereas there's one more command. If you just want to, understand, read the first 10 lines of the file only, because in the production environment, the log files will be having multiple number of lines. It's not easy for you to try and read everything. Sometimes you want to read only the top 10. Let's say for the time being, I just want to, read the first two lines of the file and not all the 10 lines of the file. For that, what I'll be doing is head space -n space 2 followed by the name of the file. So this will help me only read the first two lines of the file. Here it is. With this command, what I'm able to do is I'm only able to read the first two lines of the file. So this is how you try and read your data onto a particular so we are having the error log file. As I mentioned you previously, if you want to read the top 10 lines, you'll be using the head command. But what if you want to use, if you want to read the 10 lines, last 10 lines. In that case, what you'll be doing is you'll be making use of the tail command. So let's say tail space, the name of the file, which file you want to read, which last 10 lines you want to read of the file. Here you go. Here you go. So why is this blank? Because the last line is blank. That is why it's showing blank. So you're able to read the two lines, the last two lines of the error.log file. So this is the way you actually try and read the contents of the file. Now, let's say it's not possible for you to read the whole file. It's not possible for you to read everything which is there. You just want to, filter out something. You just want to find out where the error is, at what time the error initiated, at what line the error is. For that, you can make use of a particular filter command, that is a regular expression command which is used, that is grep. So you can make use of grep command. So it is grep. Now how does this grep command work? Now let's say cat, I want to read which file? I want to read the error.log file. I'll just do a pipe. I'll give a pipe followed by grep. And what word I'm finding for, what word I'm searching for? I'm searching for word error. Error in this file. I want to find where the word error is there in the particular log file. For that, I'll be making use of grep command and enter. So you can see error is being highlighted in red. You can observe here wherever error is there in your file, it's being, sorry, here, it's being highlighted, changing the word from error to PHP and enter. So you can see PHP is highlighted in 3 lines. So this is the way you try and, filter out some things in Linux. I'll just try and clear this. Here I go. One more command I want to explain you. It helps you understand if there was a different person working on your system and you want to understand which commands he or she executed. For that case, you can just type history. With history, you will understand, which were the cat. I tried to find out PHP, then I wanted to find error. Before that, we used the tail command. We used the clear command, we use move the contents from one directory to other. So these helps you understand, who was working on the sorry, who has executed, certain set of commands onto the system. So this is the next command, that is history. Now let's understand the disk space. That is what kind of, file system your machine is having, how much is the available file system. What is normally checked with the command df-ht. Very important, very important. And what does this stand for? Df-ht, it stands for the disk file system. And why have I mentioned h? For the human readable format I want. That is why I have mentioned H. So what does this command come to? The type of the file system, right? So you can try and understand this by the partition name. So this is the name of the partition followed by the type of the partition. You can see the total size here allocated is 8 GB. Out of that, 1.7 GB is being used and you are available with 6.4 GB, right? And 6.4G, and almost 21% is being used. So this is the way, try and understand how much is the available. Less than 15%, 20%, depending upon the threshold sets, incidents are triggered into the production environment. So this is very important in interview. If you are giving a fresher kind of an interview, you may be asked with a simple question: how do you, check the file system, the size and all. So df-ht, try and remember this. So we'll go ahead and just try and clear this. Sorry, I'll try and clear this. Yeah. Now let's say I want to check the free memory onto my system. For that, the command is system. What is swap memory? I'll explain you in a very few lines. But before that, the primary memory, how much is the total memory? That is 916. How much is used? 134. And how much is available? That is 554. So this is again a way, to try and find out how much memory is, free memory is available on my system to work on for. What is swap? Again, in interviews, someone can ask you, what is swap memory? Have you heard about swap? So normally what happens is when the RAM is utilized totally. So Linux systems, in most of the Linux systems, the unwanted processes, task, they are shifted to swap to, try and free the main RAM to execute the important task. In that case, you have to configure the swap memory. So how to configure the swap memory, how it is decided, how much percentage of swap you should, try and allocate, that is a video related to that. For this case, in this case, we'll just, stick ourselves to, the free memory, how to identify the free memory. So this is the which all processes are running on my system. For that, a simple command, an important command, psaux. This helps me identify which processes are there on my system. Is being consumed by a particular process, the memory. So this helps you understand, the running processes in the system. So we'll move ahead. Let's try and clear this. Yet another command, that is stop command. It gives you a table of processes. Again, the same command, similar command like the process command psaux, but it's going to display the real-time system processes and it's showing me local time. Here it's the local time followed by from how many minutes my system is running. That is uptime. You call it the uptime. Then how many users are using it. There are two users presently who are using it. Then total task, how many total processes in the system, 103. Then currently how many executing processes, there is only one executing process waiting for the resource, that is sleep an image. Again, swap, there's no swap being allocated, that is why it's showing zero. So this helps you, I'll just try and control C. I'll just clear this and we'll move on. Say I want to, install a particular service onto my system. How do I do it? In Windows, it's very easy. You go on for a setup file, you double click it, follow some processes, and there you go. The particular application is being installed. Now, in this case, let's say I want to, install a Apache, let's say HTTP server. How am I going to do it? Yum. It's a package manager. Install. It's asking me, it's going to consume fast. The installation is fast. Whereas if I would have installed a particular package onto a Windows system, a particular application onto a Windows system, it would have taken a lot of time, right? So that's not the case in Linux. It's very fast. The execution is very fast. So I have installed a HTTPD service. Just on your keyboard, if you can press the top arrow button, you can see the command which I executed was yum install HTTPD. I'll just cancel this, clear this, and I want to check the status now. What do I want to do? I want to check the status of the service which I installed. For that, there is a system control status which actually checks the current status of your Apache server. For that, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing system followed by status. What this does is this is going to enable the service. Once you enable the service, we can try and check the status once again. Let's see what happens. Again, it's showing inactive. Why? Because you have not started the service. You have to start the service. Here, the service is started. Now what we'll do is we'll check the status. Here you go. And now the service is running. So this is the way you actually, install a package. Um, you install, let's say in this case, we have, installed a HTTP server package and we have enabled it. For that, what commands have we? Then I have checked the status. I saw the service is not running, rather it was disabled. I had to enable it with the enable command, systemctl enable the name of the service. Then I checked the status. It was not running. Then I had to start it. And after starting, what I did was I again running. So this is one way. Sometimes you can get a issue saying that the URL is down, the website is down. So in that case, you have to identify which you have to restart it. So these are some basic ways, try and troubleshoot into the Linux environment. So I'll just try and clear this. We'll move ahead. Now let's say I want to, download something from the internet. I want to download something from the internet. In that case, what you'll be doing is you'll be using the wget command and followed by the URL. Now let's say I'll explain this later, but let's say I want to, install a particular file from this URL website. Now the machine on which I'm working is a Linux machine. What I'll do is, I want to download this URL, a package from this URL. I'll just copy the link address. What I'll do is I'll go here onto my machine, followed by wget. I'll just paste it, the URL, and I'll just enter. You can see everything which was there has been downloaded. You can see that the package is being downloaded. Right now, from here, you can try and go to install it. You can see that it's in the zip format, right? If you try to cd into Prometheus, you won't be able to do it, right? I'm trying to, enter tab repeatedly, but it's not taking Prometheus. Why? Because it's a it's a zip folder, right? Let's unzip this. So the command which I used was tar-xvzf followed by the name of the file. You can see now ls and the directory is now created. Now I can go on to, move into this, navigate into this directory and see what is there. Now I've just inserted pro. I'll enter tab now. It will take the whole. There is a YAML file with the name prometheus.yaml. I want to check the permissions given. I'll do ll. So I can see all our files later, but the purpose of explaining this command to you was how do you download a file from the internet that is going to help you execute on your local machine or your virtual machine. So this completes my second session on Linux, which helped you identify, also troubleshoot some major issues, and you must have, got an insight of some advanced level commands on Linux. So we'll just have a small recap of what we did, and then we'll stop which commands I used will help you identify that. I was regularly using clear command to, clear the workspace. I tried to use tar-x service. Do you start that service? How do you check the status of that service? I also helped you, understand what does the ps-aux command do. Then the free-mh command that helps you identify the free memory which is there. Then the space that is being, identified by last 10 lines of the particular file. If you want to, only read the last two or the three lines, you have to pass an argument with -n. Then I also explained to you the mv command, which serves two purposes, which I repeatedly mentioned you. It is going to help you with the touch command. So I hope you must have liked this video. If you have liked the video, please do like and also subscribe to the channel. I'll be bringing some new set of videos which will help you in your daily activities, which will help you try and understand the cloud platform as well as DevOps platform as well, DevOps related tools. So that's it for today. We'll stop here. Thank you, everyone.